The word prestigious is descriptive of all the United States Opens, but for one player, tonight is much more than that. With a victory here in tonight's BPAA U.S. Open, Anne-Marie Duggan all but assures herself of setting an LPBT single-season earnings record and both the Bowler and Player of the Year honors. ESPN and the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour present the championship round finals of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America United States Open. If Anne-Marie Duggan is to be prevented from winning her second PBAA U.S. Open title, the main opposition will probably come from the left side of the lanes, where Aleta Sill, who owns 20 titles and the LPBT career earnings record, is hoping to finally add this major championship to her illustrious career. And Tish Johnson, who hopes to repeat her 1992 performance once again and wear the U.S. Open champion's jacket. You're looking at downtown Wichita as seen from the Arkansas River, the first stop on the fall tour for the ladies professional bowlers. Hi, everybody. Today we go indoors to the North Rock Lanes in Wichita for this first exciting event. I'm John Neighbor. Along with me is our bowling expert, Leila Wagner. And not only is the BPAA U.S. Open one of the more prestigious events on the tour, it's also perhaps the most demanding one.
It is, John. This event is a 56-game format. Our normal events are 42 games. This event takes 7 days instead of 5. It's very demanding both physically and mentally on the players.
A true test of the athletes' deservedness to be in the final. We've already talked a little bit about the three relative veterans on the tour who are competing tonight, but let's talk about the relative newcomers. Marianne DeRupo, Carolyn Dorin.
Well, Carolyn Dorin, our 4th seed, John, has been on tour for 5 years, and by her own admission, she has not accomplished what she has wanted to do so far, but 94 has proven to be a banner year for her. She broke out, won her first singles title this year, and last night she proved herself a champion as she moved from 15th to 4th place. She averaged 239 and shot a whopping 278 in the position round.
Very exciting field because they're all bowling exceptionally well, but none as well as Anne-Marie Duggan has been this year. She's been the dominant force on the tour. In fact, she qualified in the top spot by 426 pins, almost a record. Is there anybody in this field who might be able to beat her in the championship match?
Well, there's a number of players. There are 3 others that we haven't talked about. Marianne DeRupo, who was the 1992 Rookie of the Year. She has won 2 titles in just 3 short years. Also, Aleta Sill. She's a 20-time titleist, looking to put that final link in her Triple Crown. And Tish Johnson. She is the only other player who has won a U.S. Open title. Any one of them can beat Anne-Marie here tonight. Well, Duggan will have to wait on the sidelines until that final match, but our first matchup features athletes in the numbers 5 and 4 spot. Tish Johnson, Carolyn Dorin. And so we have the handshake to start the first matchup. On the left, Carolyn Dorin, a 30-year-old right-hander out of Richardson, Texas. On the right of your screen, Tish Johnson, 32 years of age. She's currently number 3 on the all-time career money list. She's going to start off on lane 31. And you can see Tish take a big breath. This is a big event. Tish Johnson has not won a title, John, since the last U.S. Open title that she did win in '92.
And she starts it off nicely, getting a strike in the first.
Beautiful shot. Just what she wants to do in the first frame. Put a little pressure on Carolyn.
You mentioned earlier about Carolyn's remarkable final game in the position round when she really needed the big points.
She did. She moved from 7th to 4th. She went around Wendy McPherson Papanos.
Tammy Turner.
And Tammy Turner knocked them both out of the telecast. Carolyn Dorin has a very simple game, but she does use all of the approaches. You can see here she takes 5 steps, gets the ball in motion on her second step. Relatively low backswing, but good knee bend. Something she's been working on in her game is to stay down at the line a little bit longer, get more leverage.
And she leaves the 7.
Looking for the wall shot, but the 7-pin remained.
When these two met in match play, Dorin was victorious at that time. Good scores, 254. She was doing well in the final block.
was going to say, anyone that met Carolyn last night fell to her. She won 7 out of her 8 matches.
I don't think enough can be said about the experience that qualified for the finals here in this tournament.
And opens up with the double. But John, even though they have the experience, we have to look at things like Tish Johnson came to this tournament a week early. She said, I came Monday, and I really wanted to get sharp here at the center, get a feel for the bowling center, in which she did. She said she learned that she was going to have to play inside, and it made her sharper for the event.
And the last one falls. That's a turkey for Tish. 3 in a row.
Dorin now down by 20. 220 average is pretty good. It's about 5.5 pins higher than the tour's average so far this year.
Averaged on TV pair was 234, so Carolyn liked lanes 31 and 32.
Goes left of the head pin.
Got a little slow, also a little pressure there. You really want to get a strike, get something going. The time is running out when your opponent has just thrown 3 in a row. It's tough to get loose. This lady has accomplished so much, as we talked about in the opening this year, by winning. But she says, I'm always making changes in my game, and I'm always working on them.
And she picks up the spare in the third. Carolyn's going through some personal changes, too. She and her boyfriend are building a house. So take a look at the score right now. Dorin is down by 23.
You mentioned her boyfriend she's building a house with is professional bowler BALLARD, and that's something that Carolyn was mentioning. She says, I did not take any time off the tour when the tour was on break. She says, I'm with Dell, we're traveling, I'm constantly working on my game. I work with Billy Hall and Dell all the time, and it keeps me motivated to continue to compete.
And she leaves the 4. Of course, Del Ballard's also been in this tournament. 87 and 93, the champion. He knows what it's like.
It's always harder, though, to sit back and watch. And Carolyn's sister Kathy is also in the audience, really pulling for Carolyn.
And so that's the 3rd spare in a row for Carolyn Dorin. We'll be back with more of this first of the championship finals. We'll return to Wichita, Kansas in just a moment. Tonight's telecast of the championship round finals of the BPAA U.S. Open Championship is being brought to you by Quality Comfort Clarion and Sleep Hotels, and by the Crest Complete toothbrush. Crest Complete helps maintain a dentist clean. We're back now. Tish Johnson approaching the line. She's bowling in the 4th on a string of 3 strikes. Look at that, 32 perfect games in her career. She's heading for another one right now. Ooh, leaves the 2-4-7.
It appears she had a little problem with the approach. Something she mentioned to us last night, John, was the fact that synthetic approaches are not her favorite, and she usually has a little problem finding the right shoes, either stick or slip, and that time it appeared something happened.
But she picks up the spare in the 4th. So that puts her 21 pins up.
Tish's highest 1994 finish was 3rd in the Omaha Classic earlier in May.
she's back in the striking mode. 97 pins total in the fourth. Striking effect.
Great release, good roll, good ball speed. She threw that about 18.7 miles per hour. 4-pin knocks out the 7. You can tell she's starting to get a little bit pumped up.
And Dorin follows her last frame spare with a strike. We had a chance to speak with Carolyn about the impact of her sister Kathy's support from the sidelines.
There has not been one time that I have bowled and made a show that my sister, no matter how far I was out of a show, she looked at me from game 1 to game 24 and told me that I could make the show. And tonight she came up to me before I started bowling and she says, "Come on now, you can make the show, you can make the show." And I did. And I mean, it was, I can't believe it, because every time she said that to me, I mean, I have bowled so good. I mean, she never tells me I'm going to bowl bad. I mean, never. My sister never tells me I'm going to bowl bad. No matter how bad I'm bowling, she always comes down and tells me I can do something. And I did. And I thought that was really great, because maybe it brought me luck.
Well, Kathy might have brought her luck on that last frame. That's 2 spares in a row for Dorin. Tish Johnson coming back on a spare, on a strike.
It's a good thing your sister never told you you're going to bowl bad. If she did, you might whopper one, right?
I bet Las Vegas is calling Kathy Dorin and asking her to predict the outcome of this one. Oh, a near split, and it falls, so leaving the 6 behind.
And at the last minute, Tish was hoping that the 6 would fall. Another deep breath. She looks very serious. Something that, as the games go on, if she does continue on, she'll start relaxing there. The ball hits smack on the head pin. 4-pin trips at the last minute. 6-pin still standing. She converts the spare nicely.
So Tish Johnson with an 11-pin lead in the 6th, working on a spare. She crosses over to 31.
2-time Bowler of the Year, both in 1990 and 1992.
Number 3 on the all-time money list, and that's he speaks well of a long record for Tish.
And they all go down in the 7th. And so Tish Johnson will sit down and enjoy what seems to be a nice position with a few frames remaining. We'll be back with more of the BPAA U.S. Open from Wichita, Kansas in just a moment. In the 7th on 2 strikes, trails by 11. And she finds them for a turkey.
Carrying the light wall shot again. She's got the pin action working for her on the light hits. A 3-time collegiate All-American. She was voted the most valuable player in 1989. Let's take a look at the light hit. She plays very direct right around the 12th board. She's been working on trying to get the ball into a roll early through the heads, through the front part of the lane, trying to get a lot of pin action, which she does. The ball pins bounce off the wall, carries them all. And she bowled with her sister Kathy at West Texas State for a couple of those years.
National titles for the school.
Trying for 4 in a row.
Dorin and trails by 1.
And with that strike right there, she took over the lead, John. She is now +9. You can see she's talking to it. Come on, baby, let's go. That was the frame in the 7th frame, and that next one was the 8th frame.
A lot of emotion being demonstrated there. Tish Johnson just released her 8th frame shot, leaving the 4-7.
Tish is definitely having problems on lane 32. She has been perfect so far on lane 31, but 32 has given her trouble. Now, one time she stuck, the next time she went a little high, and again she went high. Pressure being put on by the opponent. You happen to squeeze the ball a little bit more and not get it clean off your hand.
That spare puts Johnson 9 pins back, with 2 frames remaining.
Tish Johnson was 2nd in 1990 in the U.S. Open. She lost by just 1 pin to Dana Miller-Mackey, 190 to 189, but she came back 2 years later and won this event.
Seems like a lot of the women we talk to remember the history here at the U.S. Open.
She says, could I just stay on lane 31?
I thought she was ready to concede a split on that one.
I'll tell you something, John. She has to finish on lane 32, so that is not the lane she is going to wish that she had picked to finish on. Well, actually, Carolyn Dorin had the choice because Carolyn qualified 4th.
Dorin on a string of 4 in the 9th.
And again, a big emotional outburst. I can't tell if Tish is almost in tears or not. Has the game run away from her this early?
Well, she had a great lead in the beginning, and things just turned around. Carolyn Dorin throws 5 in a row out of nowhere, can shoot a possible 256. Tish Johnson can only shoot 237 at this point in time, but it's not over. If Carolyn Dorin strikes here, she closes Tish Johnson out.
19-pin lead for the woman with the ball. The final frame on 31.
And that's it.
What a shot. That had to be the best shot she threw the whole game. That's worth looking at again, as you can see here. Got that ball clean off her hand. Something she's been working on. Get the ball into a nice roll. Just sets perfectly into the pocket. 6-pin, slaps the 10 at the last minute, and there's no doubt about that shot. This lady is determined.
So with a strike in the 10th, she's taking 2 more balls. And leaves the 7th.
Great round of applause. She spares here. She shoots 245. Again, Tish Johnson can only shoot 237, and it got away from her. Lane 32 just proved to give Tish a little too much problem.
So Carolyn Dorin closes out the last frame with a spare.
245 her final score, and that's good enough to advance. She'll meet Aleta Sill in the next match. Tish Johnson finishing up her 10th frame. And a baby split, 2-7.
And she ran her foot again on the approach. So 32 really seemed to be an approach problem more than anything.
And she finishes out the final frame of this match. For her, anyway, Tish Johnson takes the 5th place money, and we'll take a short break. When we return, Leila Wagner will have a chance to talk with Kurt Brose, the president of the BPAA. Welcome back to the first stop of the fall tour. The ladies' professional bowlers were here for the Bowling Proprietors Association of America U.S. Open Championship. It's the 2nd match featuring Carolyn Dorin with the purple ball. She'll start off on lane 31 against the 3rd seed Aleta Sill, who's sitting down right now. Dorin just won the first match, 245 to 216 over Tish Johnson. She goes from one left-hander to another.
That's right. And you may wonder why she walked over to get her ball off lane 30. She is able to practice while the other player practices on the championship pair. And Carolyn opens up match number 2 beautifully with a strike. Now, there's a little strategy involved here. Aleta Sill had the option whether she wanted to start the match or finish the match. Carolyn Dorin will have the pressure on her because she will have to finish the match. And also, Aleta is going to finish on lane 31, so she might have the better lane for the left-hander.
So Aleta Sill gets a strike to start it off. Coming up on ESPN later in the week, Michigan State versus Michigan. That'll be at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be tomorrow. Also watch Florida State as they take on Miami, 7:30 in the evening on ESPN. Aleta Sill has won just about every tournament in the tour except this one. A lot of people think that she has as much desire as anybody on the tour right now, and she's bowling 2 strikes in a row. certainly heading in the right direction.
Well, she has had 2 very disappointing second-place losses in the U.S. Open where she was the top seed both times.
Some women like to come in the middle of the ladder instead of just sitting on top and bowling cold in the last match. What do you think about that? Is there an advantage to just bowling one match?
There's always an advantage for the players that are coming up.
So this might be a lucky year for Aleta Sill. And that's an unlucky ball for Carolyn Dorin. She drops 9 pins and she leaves the number 2.
Going back to that thought, John, that's why the top seeds really have not done as well in the past in such tournaments as majors, because the pressure having to come on and perform, I believe that's only been won by a top seed 3 years out of 14. So it's not a very good percentage. It's always an advantage to a player bowling 1 or 2 games. They're comfortable, they know the lane condition, and they also have a chance to get a little loose.
Aleta's spare in the second, or excuse me, Carolyn Dorin's spare in the second, drops her 10 pins back.
Four perfect games for Dorin in her career. At this event last year, she finished in the highest ranking she's ever had at the U.S. Open, which was 13. She's already a minimum of 4th place. Still climbing the ladder. She takes a strike in the 3rd. Aleta Sill now trying to make it 3 in a row.
Aleta Sill has really been on a comeback year here in 1994. She's finished 2nd 4 times. As I mentioned in the opening, she won earlier in the year, and she won 2 regionals in August, and she has really been working on her confidence.
Ooh, she leaves the 7.
It's amazing a player like this who has had so much success in the past has to try to find confidence, but she went through a big slump between 88 and 92. She thought, maybe I already peaked and I don't have it anymore. So in the last couple of years, she has really come back out and shown that she is a tough competitor.
And she picks up the spare in the 3rd. We talked with Aleta earlier and asked her to discuss her feelings surrounding the fact that this title has eluded her so often in the past.
Good and bad. At least I got to the show again. I would like to win it because then that'll make my career complete. If I don't win it, if I never win it, well, I still had a good career, but it's such a prestigious title, I would just love to win it.
In fact, I've heard many say that Aleta Sill is almost impenetrable on the board. They can't read her emotions, but certainly she wants this one emotionally. Ice woman.
Well, that's right. You can't tell if she's bowling good or bad at any point of time. And get on to our next player, Marianne Tarupo uses her actually as an inspiration.
Dorin comes back to make it 2 in a row in the 4th. And that puts her a pin up in this match.
Carolyn, on the other hand, you can definitely tell if she's bowling good or bad, especially good. When you work so hard for something, and she has in the past year especially, just put in so much time and effort in improving herself, and she says, you know, I'm just never satisfied. I think a win here tonight, she would have to become satisfied.
And a big hop out of Dorin at the foul line. 3 in a row for her, and that solidifies her lead, increasing it to 11 pins.
She is really pumped. She is tripping the 4. She is carrying the light hits, and she is talking to the pins.
For some people it works, for some it doesn't. It's working for Carolyn right now. Aleta Sill bowling on a strike in the 4th, here in the 5th frame.
And answers back with a beautiful strike on lane 32. 2-time bowler of the year in 84 and 85. Really dominated tour in the early 80s. major rivalry there in the 80s. Lisa Wagner and Aleta Sill, they were always seemed to be 1 and 2, and then Lisa Wagner took off in the late 80s and became bowler of the decade. Both of them neck and neck for career earnings. Aleta Sill is ranked first.
Just short of $600,000 earned by Aleta Sill in her bowling career. And that makes it 3 in a row for Sill. And already this match, the victory, the score here will push her over $600,000. Aleta Sill continues her great success. 3 in a row. We'll be back with more bowling. Carolyn Dorin right now, 9 pins back. Welcome back to the BPAA U.S. Open Bowling Championship in Wichita. Right now, Carolyn Dorin bowling in the 6th frame. She's got a string of 3 strikes going. She trails by 9 pins.
Again, beautiful shot. What a match we have here. Back and forth, back and forth. Carolyn Dorin playing a very tight line right around the 12th board. Just a baby swing, what we talk about. Right in the track area, not giving it too much room, getting the ball off in her hand. Nice roll.
And that strike put her 1 pin up in the possible score at the end of this match.
Carolyn said she had a bit of a problem with the surface of the ball. She liked the roll she was getting while she was competing, but she was not happy with her carry early on in this tournament. She said, I just started changing the surface a little bit in the morning block. I sanded the ball. I needed more surface, and in the later blocks, I shined it up a little bit more. Other than that, I stayed with the same type of drilling pattern.
Looks like the 2 bounced around the 4, taking out the 7, but unfortunately that stops her string at 4.
If I could read lips, I could tell you exactly what happened there because she just told everybody. Switches balls to convert the spare.
So now with that spare in the 7th, Dorin drops back to even with Sill. Sill working now on a string of 3 strikes.
Sill has been combating some major injuries. They're starting to return. Tendonitis in the arm. Also talked about a rib slipping in her chest. She's just been picture perfect here on lane 32. Tish Johnson would have liked to have had these strikes on 32 along with the one she threw on 31. Just beautiful. 10 in the pit. Look at bowler track. She is throwing the ball 18 miles an hour. She's right around the 11th board early on lane. Little swing out to the 8th and 9th board.
And so with the strike in the 7th, Sill with a 10-pin lead, trying to extend that. She gets another strike. Continuing to add the pressure. Aleta Sill certainly doesn't show any effects of the sore muscles that she had earlier this week. Visited a chiropractor to get some adjustments and some help. Now it's Carolyn Dorin.
Carolyn's main goal tonight, just keep her tempo up. She says, I just want to bowl well. So far, she has bowled very well. Continues to throw strikes on lane 32. She's going to look back on that shot in the 7th frame and say, I may have let that one get away from me. This one, again, right in the track area. 12th board doesn't get away from her. The difference between that one and the last shot. Well, we'll take a look at that shot. She throws the ball about 17 miles an hour, a little bit slower than Aleta. Playing again right around 11.5 board. Out to the 9, back to the 11. Just 2-board swing. See her index finger spread very wide around the ball, trying to get the ball rolling off her hand early. She said, that's the shot I was looking for in the 7th frame.
And there's the smile her sister enjoys seeing so much. You can see as her fiance and sister are watching this important ball hit the pins. Yes. Now Aleta Sill trying to make it 6 in a row in the 9th.
This lady can throw big games as well. She has 19 300 games. Her U.S. Open high game was 278. Right now, she's going at a 279 pace with 3 strikes in the 10th. She can close out Carolyn Dorin. Even though Carolyn Dorin can shoot 259, we have a very high-scoring tournament, but we have a match, and that's what's the key.
In fact, Aleta Sill was the last woman bowler to be a part of a perfect game on television when she did that with a partner, Lori Soto. Aleta Sill not going to get a perfect game here, but just as close as you can be without getting a perfect 300.
The tables were turned on Carolyn Dorin as Aleta strike. With that strike there, one more strike and she closes her out.
And that's the first piece of emotion we've seen out of Aleta Sill so far in this match. She's right back into her game face.
And our scoreboard shows us she only needed 5 pins on that shot. She had racked it up. You could tell with the smile on her face. Carolyn Dorin has done what she wanted to do. She wanted to bowl well.
It's probably easy to say that the night before the competition. I just want to bowl well. But somehow when you get into the finals, you also want to advance.
Oh, you bet.
Messengers come across, giving a perfect final frame, and that glorious 279 score for Aleta Sill, more than enough to advance to the next match. Carolyn Dorin, 2 strikes working for her, now in the final frame. She finishes with $5,000 in her bank account.
And look at this.
Great bowling.
Great, just one shot. And actually, the shot in the 7th frame, she probably got a little bit fast, sent the ball out a little bit right, didn't get it off her hand clean enough, and never made it back to the pocket.
They call her Spike, a name that she earned from the way she combs the bangs on her hair. Spike rhymes with strike, and she has 3 in a row.
Make that 4. Remarkable scores. Unfortunately, she ran into a buzzsaw on Aleta Sill.
One more here, a 259, which is a very high-scoring game and a rough break to lose on such a great match. Great high-scoring week.
And she leaves 1 on the final ball. 258 the final score. Dorin will lose. Sill will advance. When we come back after this word, we'll show you the other top finishers in the top 24. Great action continues. Stay with us. You're looking at the next 2 athletes we'll see on the hardwood. Carolyn Dorin sitting down. Excuse me, Marianne DeRupo sitting down, and it's Aleta Sill, who's just advanced from the 3 spot. Meeting number 2, Marianne DeRupo.
And we have just found out that that 279 that Aleta Sill just shot, John, is the highest game in U.S. Open history on television. Prior to that, it was 265 by Wendy McPherson Papanos. And Aleta just picks up right where she left off with another strike here in the 1st frame.
DeRupo, 27 years of age, out of Susquehanna, New Jersey. They call her Droopy, or Drip. Marianne is a very emotional bowler. Played semi-pro softball out of college, where she had a scholarship at the University of South Carolina.
Into the softball, and with a lot of action, gets the pins to fall. Strike in the 1st.
Opens up with a light hit. You mentioned a lot of emotion. This lady's been working on that one particular thing. Her roommate, Aleta Sill, and can you believe it? They're bowling head-to-head here to try to get to the title match for this championship. She says, I admire Aleta. I try to emulate her in the way that she shows no emotion, whether she is bowling good or bad. And Marianne has really been working on keeping her emotions intact.
So she leaves at 3.69.10.
It's got to be somewhat of an inner conflict for DeRupo, trying to tone down that emotion.
Really been working on getting early roll, too, but got inside of target. The ball just took off left a little bit early. Did not give it enough room. Not an easy spare to convert. She has the 9-pin sitting behind the 3-pin.
And she bags him.
And a slight smile. She knew that that wasn't that easy to pick up, especially under pressure.
We were talking to DeRupo, and she says in softball, you want to express your emotion to sort of encourage the rest of the team, but in bowling, you want to tone it down, and she's trying to withdraw right now.
That's right. She attended the University of South Carolina on a softball scholarship.
Sill goes 2 in a row to take the lead in the second frame.
And Aleta Sill has just thrown 11 strikes in a row. And Andy Verapapa, 300 if she throws another one right now. That's any 12 strikes.
Anywhere. In succession.
In succession.
Yeah, I can throw 12 strikes. Just give me 48 chances.
Succession was the key word there, John. And she crosses over. Doesn't matter. All looks the same on paper at this point in time. She has the lead by 20 pins. Marianne's best U.S. Open finish came last year. She finished 21st. This is only her second U.S. Open ever.
Pins dance around the 4.
Ball coming in just a little high, but that really could have carried. Marianne made some real changes in her game recently. You can see there she's way up on the approach. She's gone from a 5-step to a 4-step. Watch here, she drops the ball right in her first step. You've got to do that on a 4-step approach. Again, very high backswing, really rips the ball, and she actually ends up pretty far from the line. Takes very, very short steps.
We talked to Marianne DeRupo a little earlier and asked her what it might mean to her to win this most illustrious tournament.
It's so hard to put into words. With the elite group that I'm bowling against, just looking at the total amount of titles that they have combined is something within itself. To win a tournament like this would be probably my #1 memory in all the sports that I've ever had. I played professional softball for quite a period of time. I played softball in college, and to win an elite as an individual, to win an elite tournament would be something very special to me.
Well, she's not heading in the right direction here in the 4th.
Again, the ball coming up high. She tripped out the 10, but did not get the 6. Marianne throws the ball almost 18 miles an hour. She's playing very deep. She's playing in around the 17th board. Switches balls to shoot at the spare.
So DeRupo sits down, and Sill now enjoying a 22-pin lead, working on 3 consecutive, now in the 4th.
This is where the advantage of even having a game on the lanes prior to this is taking a play. Here, Aleta Sill's very comfortable with the lanes. Marianne's been sitting off a while. Oh,
they dance around the 7.
Something Marianne has never had to do. In the 2 titles she won, she came from the first match. She built up the momentum. She said last night when she was talking to us, you know, I've never had to just bowl and go off and sit and wait and come back on. I know the lanes are going to change a little bit, and I know it's going to be a different story. She's having a little trouble.
Picking up the spare in the 4th. Her lead now 21 pins.
Raised eyebrows there. Look up at the sky. She says, that ball did not quite slide as far as I thought it was going to do. Started to hook a little bit earlier. Thank you, Lord.
Yes, an open frame right about now would not be helpful. 12 strikes in a row, though, for Sill as she sees that string come to a close in the 4th. Now in the 5th, he's back on it.
Marianne's 1994 television record is 7-1. Very, very high. She's averaged 217 tonight.
2 pro titles in her career.
Average on the TV pairs been 220. Average this week was 224.
Misses the head pin and leaves a bunch. Wash out with the 2 and 8.
Marianne's going to try to hit on the left side of the head pin, throw it into the 10. The ball then takes out the 2 and the 8.
Beautifully played.
She must have watched my drawing, John. What do you think?
Like she's got nothing else to worry about. Well, I tell you, for a newcomer going up against a veteran, she certainly does know how to play it right and keep her head in the game.
I didn't even have to draw it that time. That head pin just took out the 10 perfectly.
How cooperative.
How many times you throw that head pin around the 10 pin, though, really upsets you. You get very close. Beautiful conversion there. A big sigh of relief as the shoulders had gone down.
4 spares in a row for DeRupo.
Gave that ball the room that it needed.
And so with the strike in the 6th, DeRupo now is only 25 pins back. Aleta Sill comes to lane 32 when we return for more of the U.S. Open right here. Aleta Sill now back on the hardwood in the 6th frame. She leads by 25 pins, working on a strike. She struck in 4 of the last 5 frames. Bowled 11 strikes in the last game. Ooh.
Sent the 4 pin right around the 7. Aleta said she had been laying off a lot of the summer, did not get a lot of practice in. She was trying to give her arm time to relax. Let's take a look at this last shot. Ball coming in. Looks beautiful into the pocket, but watch the 4 pin just wraps right around the 7. She said then what I did is I just came back. I laid off, and I came back right into the regional tournaments and did not give any time for the rehabilitation process in my arm. And in turn, she re-injured it. So she is using a band there to keep the tendons tight.
I'm surprised there's not more career-threatening congenital problems that come along with this sport. They're working so hard. 56 games in a tournament that lasts a week long. Strike for Sill in the 7th. The spare she earned in the 6th. She's enjoying the 25-pin lead right now.
Watch this ball as it comes in pretty high, but she ends up tripping out the 6 and the 8. Head pin off the wall, takes the 6, and the 8 falls down as well. She says, yes, I can carry the high hits as well as the pocket.
And there's the 2nd strike in a row for Marianne DeRupo. Don't forget, coming up next, we go inside the Senior PGA Tour as the sport of golf is here on ESPN a little bit later in the coverage of this evening's broadcast. DeRupo now 15 down. Needs a strike in the 8th to make it 3 in a row.
Big shot here to finish out the match. 8th frame could set her right in pace with Aleta Sill. Looks like she's loosened up now a little bit. She's given the ball the room it needs.
Barely glanced off the head pin, leaving the 2-4-10.
Well, she picked up the washout in the 5th frame. Again, it's going to be the same type of a conversion. She's going to try to throw the 2 pin into the 10 pin. See here, the ball hitting right between the 2 and the 4, sending the 2 pin right into the 10.
Is it the lane? Is it the finish? Perhaps grabbing more of the ball now?
And boy, just missing this. Gave a good run at it. And see there, whew, that's about the way you want to hit. Just missed by a hair. Actually, no, what you mentioned, John, there is the ball grabbing more. The last two shots, when she threw it to the right, the ball did not grab enough, but she did trust it. It's something she's just trying to fine-tune. Right now, a 6-8 pocket hit for Aleta Sill. Bad break when you hit the pocket and you leave that. And we saw her trip this just in the last frame. In order for her to pick this up, she is going to have to hit right of the 6-pin. Throw it right into the 8. Oh, again, another good run at it.
Very difficult frame, but it came at a good opportune moment for Aleta Sill as she was enjoying a 32-pin lead. That now drops to 18 as a result of the open frame in the 8th. So it's a very exciting match again. 2 opens in the 8th.
That's right. Marianne is not out of this. She can still shoot 207. Aleta Sill would have to catch a double sometime in the 9th or 10th frame. Beautiful shot in the 9th frame. Set herself up for the 10th. And we really have to believe that that 6-8 was a pocket shot, too. It's not like she's lost out here on the lanes, whereas Marianne looks a little bit lost.
So now we test the mettle of this third-year professional. Marianne having the open, gets it back.
Oh, my. Pocket hit almost leaves the 4-9. That one coming in a little high. You can tell where she's been fishing. She has not been comfortable with the line exactly where she is playing. She sent the ball right a couple times. It hung on her. It stayed out there. She moved in a little bit left. She got a little bit too much roll, too much hook. So she does not quite have it all, or has not had it all together this game.
Well, she'll pick up the spare in the 9th. And that will deny her the chance to break 200 in this game, setting up Aleta Sill with the opportunity to close it out.
Right now, Marianne would like to throw 2 in a row. She would force Aleta to mark.
Bucket.
You can tell there she's going light, high through the nose. Light, a little bit high. Now she has to be happy, though. Even though she's finishing 3rd, it's only her 2nd U.S. Open. She really bowled well all week. She was actually the high qualifier for 32 games, the high professional qualifier.
And no one thinks that this is the final year in her career. She's got a long time, at least another decade to go, the way she's been bowling.
Marianne was the most consistent of all of the top 5 players. She never dropped below 3rd place in the entire event.
And she squeezes out all 10 for the final ball. A final score, 183.
And Aleta Sill virtually has wrapped it up. Needs 5 pins to win.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready. I think I can handle 5. 9 is enough. 9 gives her enough to win this match and advance to the championship final. On the strength of that string of strikes and spares in the early going, they both ran into a little trouble in the 8th. Sill got back on the bandwagon with a strike in the 9th, and she'll spare here in the 10th. And so, 3rd place, $7,000. Not a bad paycheck for Marianne DeRupo. Aleta Sill, though, wants the title more than the money. Money she's got.
You're sure about that? No, she does want the title more than anything. If not, she becomes probably the only player to finish 2nd in the U.S. Open 3 times, which I'll check on those statistics. But she is looking to win, put that 3rd link into the Triple Crown.
When we come back, we'll show you our championship frames as we head into the final matchup. It's going to be Aleta Sill against Anne-Marie Duggan for the U.S. Open title.
We're back. The championship match is moments away, but first take a look at some of these statistics. Lisa Wagner became the first woman to break $100,000 in earnings in a single year. She did that in 1988.
With the help of a $40,000 first-place prize check from the BPAA U.S. Open.
It adds up pretty quick. But just the following year, Robin Romeo came out and topped that mark. $113,000 and change is the current single-season record.
And again, another $40,000 for the U.S. Open.
Anne-Marie Duggan now has a chance to eclipse that mark. Currently at just under $88,000. She's already won 3 titles, $18,000 on the line with a victory in this tournament. And it'll certainly put Anne-Marie Duggan well on the way to shattering that record.
That's right. A victory tonight. She goes to $109,000 with 6 events left.
Aleta Sill, given the opportunity to start off the match on 31.
Carrying the light hit, and we talked about who was going to start and finish the match, and Anne-Marie Duggan has opted to finish this match first, putting any pressure. If it gets right down to the last ball, Aleta Sill will have to throw for it all.
Anne-Marie Duggan defeated all of the other 4 finalists in match play.
She went 20 wins and 4 losses.
Remarkable score, and she gets the Big Ten to start off. This is the group that Anne-Marie Duggan wishes to join. 2-time winners at the U.S. Open.
And just Paula Sperber-Carter did it the first time, 71-75, followed by Pat Costello, Donna Adamek, and Dana Miller-Mackey. Names that we still know, very impressive bowlers. Anne-Marie Duggan would like none other than to put her name in that number 5 spot.
It's hard to quantify desire. Anne-Marie wanting to be there twice. Aleta Sill wanting her first title, the only major that's eluded her. Right now, though, Anne-Marie is on her way. 2 strikes in a row in match play. She won by 45 pins.
Anne-Marie,
47 pins.
This tournament became the first player ever to make 4 consecutive telecasts in the U.S. Open.
Great set of statistics for Anne-Marie Duggan. But Aleta Sill is not worried about statistics. She's worried about the head pin.
Finds the pocket from the left side.
A little different mental attitude, too, from Aleta Sill. The 2 times she finished second, she was the top seed. So she's got a couple games under her belt, as we talked about. She's looking loose. She's just thrown the highest game ever to have been bowled in a U.S. Open match. She shot 279.
I was surprised there were no 300 games in this tournament this year, because the lanes were high scoring. The bowlers all came with, some of them, weeks in advance.
Oh, crossing over, taking anything she can get. That's got to loosen you up. Anne-Marie Duggan at this point just has to stay focused in her own game. Says, hey, I'm not going to let it slip away. Now, she's playing very deep inside. Anne-Marie's playing much deeper than we even saw Marianne DeRupo, who likes to play inside. Standing very far left on the approach. Putting the ball inside the 4th arrow, sending it out, trying to get it back. 2 pin falls, but the 8 pin does not.
So the door is now open for Aleta Sill.
We're going to take a look at Anne-Marie. Again, another player that uses all of the approach. She does this so that she can get ball speed. She takes 5 steps, gets the ball down in the 2nd step. High backswing. Look at the leverage here and a long slide.
Duggan picks up the spare in the 3rd.
Finds herself 11 pins down as she enters the 4th frame. Frankly, it's hard to choose who to root for. They're both champions on the hardwood right now. Aleta Sill having years of success after, or before, some personal problems sidelined her somewhat for a while, but she's back in full force. These are the top 2 money leaders currently this season.
Oh, ball coming in just a little high. You can see there the frustration. Here's her husband, Pat. Come on, Carrie, he's thinking. He's been here all week, a very plays a very big part in Anne-Marie's games, that he's really turned her around over the years. I used to be very stubborn. I believed it was my game, and he has helped me to be more open-minded. Before I just thought I just needed to hook it, and now I realize that there's many other things that I can do. I'm becoming a much more versatile player, as she has proven this year.
Versatile and consistent. One thing she's been throughout this tournament. The consistency in this match right now belongs to Aleta Sill. 3 strikes in a row. She's now in the 4th.
Aleta was inducted into the Michigan Hall of Fame in 1992, an honor that she was well-deserved, you know.
No question she'll go into the TiVos. Oh, awful, awful.
The ball coming up extremely high. It is makeable. It's basically the 6-8. We've thrown in a few more pins. What she's going to want to do here is throw the ball left of the 6 pin, get the pin to slide into the 8. It'll also take out the 7. Going to go for it. Oh.
Nice attempt. Very difficult attempt. And so she opens the 4th and opens the door back again.
Looking at the telestrator, the ball was a little slower than what she had been throwing it. It was about 17.8 miles an hour. She had been up in the 18-mile-an-hour range. She was roughly in the same area of the lane. So that's the only thing I can really see, the big difference in that ball hooking a little higher. Sometimes it's just that fraction, and there was the fraction right there as that just tripped the 6 pin forward. And we had a chance to look at the pin action. Again, the ball coming in just a little high, head pin off the wall, taps the 10, 10 pin comes forward and taps the 6. She threw that 18 miles an hour. That was the difference. 0.2 tenths.
Well, one lucky shot sent her from the lead back. Duggan with a 6-pin lead. She'll lose some now.
Anne-Marie looking confused, looking a bit puzzled. That ball not coming back. She's getting a long slide, but the ball does not seem to be breaking early enough to get into the pocket. So the lane conditioner has carried down the lane from when she played on them earlier. Oh my. She threw straight at it. The ball actually backed up to miss the 2-pin. Now you know she's a little angry. You can see here the nerves, the emotions are going to start.
That's got to be a shock. You saw earlier the graphic where she's already won 3 professional tournaments this year. Fall tour just beginning. She's got a lot of chances to earn more money, but this is a title that just doesn't come around that often.
Oh, and now, of course, when things start going bad, they just continue. She comes through, hits the pocket beautifully, and leaves the 4-9 split. You see this so much now with the new equipment. The ball's just driving very hard the back end. Normally those balls take out the 9-pin, but now they're just driving. They're continually moving left, and they go right by that 9-pin. Wants to hit left of the 4-pin, slide it in, gave it a good run, but did not pick it up.
So consecutive open frames for Anne-Marie Duggan.
Trailing by 17 pins right now, Aleta Sill can increase her lead to 27 with a strike here in the 6th.
Coming up, racing across America. The Oak Tree Invitational, 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. 3-year-olds and up. 1.5 miles, final event on the West Coast for horses with designs on $2 million at Breeders' Cup turf. Aleta Sill back again with another strike here in the 6th. That's 2 in a row for her, and valuable points doubled up as she goes 27 pins to the good.
And Aleta says, hey, if you don't want it, Anne-Marie, I'm going to take it away. And Anne-Marie definitely wants it, and sometimes that's what the problem is.
Aleta Sill, 32 years old, left-hander out of Dearborn, Michigan. 20 national titles, but none as tasty as this one right now.
And she almost left the 7-9 on a pocket hit. You can see there she's mouthing, I made a good shot. She's trying to stay positive.
A lot of confusion out there.
A lot at stake right now. You can tell the tempo is different, too. The pace is different, and then the players, the atmosphere has changed a lot from the first couple matches.
Duggan back into a striking form here in the 7th after 2 open frames. She's 26 pins trailing, 27.
Taking a re-rack. Anne-Marie says, I know I made a good shot. Take a look at bowler track. Anne-Marie Duggan throws the ball around 17.5 miles an hour. She's playing very deep, 19th board, which is the 4th arrow, out to about the 11th board at 45 feet, and then the ball is coming back. Again, the pocket sits around the 17th board, so it's making a long way back. Needs this one. The ball hooked a little too early.
310 left behind. Baby split as she just exhales her frustration.
Anne-Marie practices roughly 15 to 20 games a day. So it says I never get away from it either. She did take some vacation time. Her and her husband Pat and her 2 stepchildren took their motorhome, went up through Montana, had a little time to relax, but then she got right back into business as she came here at the U.S. Open.
Working on a spare in the 8th frame. Aleta Sill leads by 38 pins.
And she gets them all here. Those will be valuable pins for her.
Aleta Sill was the 1993 leading money winner on the tour. She won 3 titles. She won the LPBT doubles event. She won the team event and the Merit mixed doubles event. Not one of them was a singles title. She says, someone asked her, do you always need a little help now to, win these other events? But in '94, she proved them wrong. She came back to win her 20th title in the summer, won 2 regionals, as I mentioned, in August. She is on her way to win the 1994 U.S. Open title. I'm going to take a look at the pin action here. Light hit. Ball hits a 6 pin, hits the 5, takes out the 10.
And here, starting off the 10, she gets another strike. And that looks like it'll just about put it on ice.
Very, very frustrated after leading an event by over 400 pins. You can tell she's really upset with her release, how she's been, what exactly she was doing to the ball.
The highest she can score is 193.
She takes it off the shot. And she won't do it here in the 10th.
Leaves 1 on the first ball.
And that loses it for her. The best she can do now is 173, and it won't be enough.
Well, she goes to well over $99,000 for the year. She'll be breaking that record, I'm sure, within the next 6 events somewhere along the line. She'll be bouncing back.
Small consolation, $9,000 for the runner-up finish. Anne-Marie Duggan will have plenty of chance to earn more money in the future. I wonder if Aleta Sill even knows she's won her title.
Oh, I bet she does. That's a small consolation to you, John, $9,000. I think it's a pretty good paycheck,
It would
actually.
be a pretty good paycheck for me as well. 7 pins for the final ball for Duggan. And so it's 170, the final total. And now it's just a matter of formalities as Aleta Sill will win her first U.S. Open title. And for her, a strike in the 10th. icing on the cake. The Triple Crown finally complete for this one of the greatest all-time bowlers, certainly a Hall of Famer in the future. And adding to her career money totals, she'll go up to about $620,000 in her career. Eight. And so Aleta Sill has the victory, though she doesn't close out that frame. She wins it here in Wichita, Kansas. We'll be back with more and words with this now Triple Crown champion. Tonight's telecast of the championship round finals of the BPAA U.S. Open Championship has been brought to you by the Century 21 system. When you want the best, discover the power of #1. And I'm standing right next to the U.S. Open champion, Aleta Sill. Congratulations, a title long overdue. As Bill Blue puts on the winner's jacket, let me ask you, does this bring a sense of completion or closure to your career?
Well, I think it brings a sense of completion. This has just made my career complete. I've wanted this for a long time. I didn't even think I could win it. I've finished second a couple times, and it's been all worth it.
Well, certainly it's worth it, and along with the title and the jacket comes a little paycheck. Here, Kurt Brose, would you present the honors?
Be happy to. On behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, a great champion, great performance. First of all, here's your eagle. Very representative of the flying performance, 7-12 for 3 games, and also the most important, the check for $18,000. Congratulations.
Quite an accomplishment and certainly well worthy of the awards. John Crum, the owner here, will present a little nice token of his appreciation. Lovely flowers.
I get the check back and then I give her this, right? That's a good substitute. We've had a great time this week. We really enjoyed you ladies. We've both had some great bowling out of all of you, and congratulations on your great win.
Thank you very much.
Aleta, you're up in the 4th frame. You've got a split in the 4th. What happened?
I think I just got a little slow. That seems to be my trait. When I get nervous, I get a little slow, and so I did it again, and I just had to calm myself down and say, just keep your speed up.
Congratulations, Aleta Sill. From all of us, a fabulous tournament here, the U.S. Open winner for 1994. Be sure to join us next week when the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour moves to Rockford, Illinois for the championship round finals of the Hammer Midwest Open, taking place at the Cherry Bowl Center in Rockford, Friday, October 14th. Coming up next on ESPN, we go inside the Senior PGA Tour. Golf from the inside, right here on ESPN.